this is me as a kid. So as you can tell by the wavy hair, Professor Christensen would probably even be envious of it. Awesome glasses. I'm hiding some expensive orthodontia. But not only that, I was super cool. I was on the swim team. You can tell by my Speedo shot. And as you can also see, I was kind of small. In fact, occasionally a bully would get an idea that it was a good idea to pick on me. But I was small, but I was scrappy. So one of these bullies kind of bothered me a lot. His name was Pat. He was sort of what you would call my arch nemesis. And one day, after swim team practice, I was waiting for my mom to come pick me up, and I get into an argument with Pat. The argument with Pat is about he wants to throw me in the dumpster, and I don't think that's a really good idea. So we start arguing, going back and forth, and then all of a sudden, I say a few things, and it gets a little physical. So Pat comes at me, it's about to punch me, but boom! Block it with my face. No problem. So at that point, I'm like, why don't I teach this kid a lesson? So I knock him down on top of me, and then I actually poke him in the finger with my eye. So like he's furious at this point, right? So Pat starts trying to kick me. Boom! Block with my ribs, block with my face. At that point, I got up and I'm like, I'm walking away. Pat cannot handle any more of this. So I'm walking away. Pat comes cruising at me, and I thought, that's it. I'm going to teach him a lesson, so he tells all the other bullies, never bothers me again. So as he comes at me, I grab him in the Pando death grip, and then I slam his knee 3 times with my stomach. Then, to absolutely finish him off, I hit him in the fist with my orthodontia. So, okay, I have to take a time out for a second because that's not exactly how that happened. Unfortunately, someone did try to throw me in a dumpster when I was in middle school. But I kind of adapted a story by a woman named Carol Tuttle about positivity into the little story I just told you about Pat. But I did that for a reason. Warren Bennett's famous author on leadership said, successful leadership requires positive self-regard fused with optimism about a desired income. The leadership concept that we chose to develop on our team and build a model to help others is positivity. The reason why I told you about PAT is because PAT stands for something. PAT stands for Positive Glasses, Action Plan, and Tell That Story. So I'm going to dive into each of these a little bit more and explain what they mean. Positive glasses. Michael Jordan said, always turn a negative situation to a positive one. You kind of have a choice, right, when you're looking at something. You can look at it how you normally look at it, or you put your positive glasses on. And you can look at it and try to find the silver lining. Try to find what's positive about that situation. And the second step is your action plan. Albert Einstein says, within difficulty lies opportunity. So when you're looking at it in a positive light, you need to find the opportunity. But that's not good enough. You need to build an action plan around taking advantage of that opportunity. And then last, tell that story. Professor Howard Gardner, famous professor at Harvard University, said, stories constitute the single most powerful weapon in a leader's arsenal. Now, if you notice, I said tell that story, not tell a story. And because that, I want you to tell that story is in reference to the positive glasses and the action plan. Let me show you what this would look like. Okay, so a friend of mine, he was managing a project to implement some new technology. About $500,000 worth of purchased technology. And he had a team of about 10 people that he was leading to implement this, and it failed completely. It didn't implement it at all, so the investment was wasted. Plus, you think of the time that 10 people for 3 months, it was in a lot of ways a huge failure. But let's think about the PAT model. Let's think about PAT. Number one, positive glasses. So let's take a little closer look at it, and we see that, sure, we didn't accomplish our original goal, which was to implement this technology. But in the process, we learned a lot about implementing that technology. So, okay, that's great. We have positive glasses. Now, what's our action plan? Well, our next step is to take that, what we learned that we saw in our positive outlook, and share it with the rest of the organization. We're going to put it into a presentation. And then we're going to go on a roadshow. We're going to go from each department in the company and share with them so that they benefit from what we learned. And the last is tell that story. So imagine this. I'm my friend, and somebody comes up to him at the water cooler and says, hey, tell me about that project. I could say, oh, we lost all this money, and it was awful, and I'm going to cry, I think we get fired. But instead, you tell that story. You say, you know what? We didn't accomplish our original goals, but we learned a lot. And not only that, we're going into a meeting right now where we're sharing some of those learnings with our friends throughout the company. That is how you take a bad situation, and you turn it into a good situation. So here's the challenge. In your work, in your professional life, you're going to encounter things that seem really negative. You're going to seem really bad. I want you to think about Pat, trying to throw a poor little dirt Pando into a dumpster. And remember the positive glasses, action plan, and tell that story.